sports presentation.
So, Herman, run this by me again. Lawrence Taylor had a fight with sports writer Ernie Palladino. So LT gave him his 1993 All-Madden jacket.
And that's why he crazy. That's why he gets the All-Madden jacket. This guy's crazy.
But the paper made Ernie give it back. So then what happened? The Giants auctioned it off.
And we will auction this off throughout the course of the day via telephone.
Well, who got the jacket? You know, I'm really not sure.
Now we're going to be bidding on the Lawrence Taylor All-Madden jacket.
Who's bidding on the jacket? No, I got 25 record-breaking touchdown footballs this year, 1995. This is better than cash. I want that 93 L2 jacket. Yeah, I know, man, but I need that 1993 Lawrence Taylor jacket, man. I got to have
it. Steve, if you'll agree to restructure your deal, we can free up some salary cap money.
Who are we looking to get? Reggie, Emmett, Barry? Who is it?
Actually, it's an All-Madden jacket.
All-Madden jacket? What year?
93.
93. That was a great jacket.
Una frenética subasta está tomando lugar internacionalmente por la chaqueta All-Madden de Lawrence Taylor. La oferta más alta.
What's the market on the All-Madden Team jacket?
So who got the jacket?
Ronnie, congratulations. There's a lot of competition for this, and I'll tell you, a lot of people are fighting for this thing, and you won it.
Sold them. That goes to the lady from New Jersey.
I'll introduce you to some of the roughest. Taylor's going to get a reverse. I'm the greatest in the world. Right now, you hate to be that guy.
All-Madden guys. Work hard.
John, you know, everywhere we go, there's quite a clamor for that All-Madden jacket this year.
Well, you know, they can auction those things off and they can buy them. But I'll tell you one thing, Pat. You can't buy your way onto the All-Madden team. Hey, wait until you see the facilities we have this year. They are great. Yeah, here's the kitchen, Pat. Here's where we feed them to keep their weight up. You know what I mean? Look, we got big old stuff, big old fishes, big old meats, big old stuff. You know, sinking stuff that just kind of hangs down there, so boom, keep their power.
You can feed a lot of people from this kitchen.
We even have lockers now, Pat, and equipment. Look, we have old-time equipment. We have young-time equipment. If we have any players, any little players coming, they need a rocking chair, we got that. And I'll tell you, the reason we needed lockers and a locker room is now we got a field. Yeah, we have reminders of our past. We have Matt Millen there. We have Howie Long there. You always have to remember your history. So now let's go check out the field. What in the heck is this, Pat?
No mud.
No, there's nothing. I mean, there's two things wrong here. One, it's artificial turf, and two, it's puny. I mean, look at this thing. This looks like a foot mat or something. I couldn't even fit Nate Newton on this deal. I'm going to get this fixed. We aren't going to go with this. Hey, George! George, come here a minute.
Coach, what do you need?
Pat, you know George Stoma.
Hi, Pat. How are you?
Yeah, George has done every Super Bowl since the start of Super Bowls. And anytime there's ever a problem with the field, you just call George Stoma. I'll tell you, George, we got a problem. I mean, we have these big old guys coming here in this All-Madden team. Look at this field that they gave it. Is there anything you can do about it?
I have just the solution for you, Coach.
Hey, but if there's anyone that has a solution or can do it, it's George Toma.
He can fix anything.
Coach, this is Super Bowl 30 grass, the same grass we're using in Phoenix for Super Bowl 30, and I will build you the best field in the world for the All-Madden team.
John, looks like you got the grass problem taken care of, but I hate to tell you, we're in a dome. It's not going to work.
Yeah, but that's no problem anymore, Pat. Remember this summer we were in Toronto? I'm going to open this thing up. You see it now? You look up there, it's closed. I learned that every one of these places that has a roof, there's also a button someplace. It just says open. It's simple. All you have to do is go around, look, find the button, push it, and pop, you get rid of the roof.
Good luck.
Yeah, we're playing this game outdoors now, Pat, but this thing's opening up pretty good.
Yeah. So, John, we got the turf taken care of. We got the dome fixed. What about this year's team?
I'll tell you, a great team. This was a super year for wide receivers. I mean, we got speed, guys that can catch everything. We got guys that can throw the ball all over the park. We got tough running backs. We got big old offensive linemen, which I love. I mean, that's where it all starts. If you don't have big old offensive linemen, you can't do anything. We have tough guys on defense. We got linebackers. We got some young guys. We got some medium-age guys. We got some old guys. You talk about a smorgasbord, we got a great smorgasbord of guys.
Sounds like we've got a great team, and we'll have that and much more on this year's show.
Do you live, eat, and drink football? You get crazy about it.
That's right, we're crazy. Crazy about football. So get ready for our version of the Dirty Dozen. This year, we've got blimps racing buses.
I bet I could beat the blimp. If they want to race, I'll give them a race.
We've got a video game with an appetite. We've got very special teams. We've got players with a rap. John hauls his fame to a new special location.
Get prepared to play. Prepare yourself to play. Don't worry about nothing else.
And, of course, we'll select a team. So coming up, it's the Little Caesars 12th Annual All-Madden Team. The Little Caesars 12th Annual All-Madden Team is brought to you by Little Caesars.
Pizza.
And by the new Florsheim ComfortTech maintenance-free shoes. Waterproof, comfortable, and they never need polishing. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Little Caesars needed some...
The defensive line. And the cornerstones of the defensive line were L.C. Greenwood, number 68, and Joe Green, number 75.
Winning the game is a given.
L.C. Greenwood's penetration helped set up the first score of the game.
I had goose pimples all over me. I mean, the thrill of that moment, the chills. I mean, we floated through the entire game.
And they floated through the Vikings' offensive line, harassing quarterback Fran Tarkenton all day. A fumble recovery and an interception by Green would close the book on the Vikings. In Super Bowl 14 against the Rams, Greenwood and Green helped turn a 13-10 Rams lead into a 31.
Handoff goes to Emmitt Smith. His first run, 45-50. He's going to score at the 35-30, to the 20, to the 10. Touchdown, Cowboys. A 60-yard ramble by Emmitt Smith. Is he back? I would say so. Great run by Emmitt Smith.
John, it was a record-breaking, historic year for Emmitt Smith.
And I think if you were looking for a definition of a pro football player, or someone from over here that had never seen a pro football game and said, what is a pro football player? I think all you'd have to do is point to Emmitt Smith.
I think I couldn't agree with you more.
Oh, no, George, not that fancy kind. You know, the square, the block kind over there.
Got that straight. What about special rules for being picked on the All-Madden team?
Well, the same rules that we've always had. You know, guys that we've done their games, we've seen them, we've met with them, we watched them practice, we've watched them on tape. Guys who would be fun to coach, be fun to have on our team. And, of course, now, if we haven't seen them or if we haven't done their game, that's going to be a problem. Like the Steelers were in a Super Bowl. We didn't do a Steeler game. There's a lot of them that we would love to have on our team, but there can't be any on this team.
So those are the rules. Let's look at the rest of the running backs.
From Emmitt Smith to Barry Sanders, not a bad way to start.
No, Barry Sanders is one of those guys that has moves for moves. Defensive players hate to try and tackle him because that's all they can do is try. And sometimes they don't even touch him.
And Ricky Waters made the transition from San Francisco to Philadelphia rather easily.
And you know, he was not only a running back and a pass receiver for Ray Rhodes and his Philadelphia Eagle team this year, but he was a real inspiration. I mean, this guy is an emotional leader.
The Giants' Rodney Hampton always runs tough.
And that's why he's on our team, Pat, because he's a big, strong guy who is a halfback that runs like a fullback.
Terry Allen carried the load for the Redskins.
Yeah, and the Redskins beat the Dallas Cowboys twice this year. We saw them in the second game, and they needed a big day from a big player running and pass receiving, and Terry Allen gave it to him that day.
Got to have a fullback, and who better than Craig Hayward, the Ironhead.
That's what I think. I think if you're going to start with a fullback, you want a guy that when he hits them, they're going to go backwards. When you get close to that goal line, he's going to get them in. When he blocks, you hear that real iron head. He'll knock them up in the air or down in their head.
Chris Warren of Seattle, first-time All-Madden selection.
You know, Chris Warren is one of those backs that you tend to lose. He's up there in Seattle, and you don't see a lot of him, and then you see him and you say, wow, this guy is really some running back.
Edgar Bennett of the Packers. He moved from fullback to halfback, lost weight, still did everything they asked him to do.
You know, the Green Bay Packers were a lot of fun this year, and Edgar Bennett was one of those guys that showed why they were fun. You score a touchdown, what the heck, you just jump in the stands with a fan. Want to celebrate, you dump the old bucket on the old coach. And this year, he made a great move here. He took a Green Bay jacket he was wearing and traded Matt Millen his Green Bay jacket for that fur coat. Now, that is a street move.
Well, John, that's a fine group of running backs. Who you got up front blocking for them?
I'll tell you, we got big old guys that work on gear like this, the old seven-man
That's
sled.
the old-timer.
Yep, and if it weren't for those big guys up in front, those guys wouldn't be making all those yards and touchdowns and all that stuff, those running backs. I'll tell you, we got a guy here who's going to tell us. You always wonder, what is an offensive lineman? How do you get to be an offensive lineman? We got a guy here who's going to tell us.
Hi, I'm Nate Newton, offensive lineman for the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of people think it's a bad job to have, but to me it's a great job. You know, you get to sweat, you get to grunt, you get to push up against other people, you get to dominate. But first of all, to be an offensive line, got to have nice calves, big strong thighs, good boxing, a little bit of pouch, a little bit of stomach, not much. You know, good size, chest wide. You got to look mean. You got to have that face to look mean. You know, being an offensive lineman is not that bad. It makes you a lot of money. Plus, you get to be a tough guy and beat up people. So, hey, I love being an offensive lineman. It's a great thing.
And Big Nate's got some pretty good companions down in Dallas.
And he was talking about a tough guy that beats up people. Ray Donaldson has been doing that for 16 years in the National Football League, and he did it extremely well until he broke his leg. Then you talk about guys that do things extremely well. Larry Allen, the right guard, I think is the best lineman in all of football.
And there's no one like Nate.
No, well, Nate, I mean, he can just overpower you. I mean, he's big and strong, and then if a fight breaks out, you say, hey, where's Nate? Nate will jump in the middle. He'll calm everything down. Okay, everyone just stand back, stand back. And you need someone to calm people down when you have a guy like Eric Williams. Because he's his right tackle. He's always getting in something going right out of nowhere.
You better be glad I love you.
And then they love you, and then that's the way they come to practice. And then when it's all over, you just get on the bike and go on home.
And you need some pain and some woe on your offensive line, and Harris Barton can furnish that.
Yeah, and he had that in that playoff game. Remember this game against the Green Bay Packers? They carry him off. They say he's out for the game. He comes back. He blocks Reggie White for a touchdown.
First-time All-Madden selection, Bob Whitfield.
Hey, he plays down in Atlanta in that run and shoot, and they have to be able to block for the run and also be able to pass protect, and Bob Whitfield can do it all.
And what's with this guy, Trey Johnson?
Well, let's find out about the name.
Edward Stanton Johnson III, parentheses, Trey. Accent on the E.
Okay, now, tell me some more about that accent.
I really don't know what the story is behind the accent, but ever since, you know, I've been writing my name, I've been including the accent in it. You know, it's probably something my mother would know a little better than I would, but, you know, it's always been there and always will be there.
Maybe it has always been there and always will be there, but I still don't know, Pat. We got to find out some more about this accent up there.
Now today, the topic is accents. There's a word with no accent. Without an accent, it's 3. With a back accent, it is very. With an accent aigu, we have the name Trey, which means, of course, a very good right guard.
Huh, so that's an agu. We'll just put an agu right here, and then after we put the agu on him, we'll watch him go block. This guy brings a load.
Hey, John, would you consider putting an accent on your name?
John, what do you think?
I don't know. Let's take a look at it. Nah, no agus.
Well, now, John, that we've got our accents and our emphasis in the right place, it seems to me, I know the offensive linemen are getting bigger and bigger, but it seems to me they're getting quicker also.
I think so. I mean, but you never hear anyone say that. I mean, it's always like big and slow. And, you know, people look at the All-Madden team and say, boy, those guys are really big. They must be slow. And this year, we were challenged. If they want a race, I'll give them a race. Blockbuster, just get above me and follow me.
You're on. I've already got word. You're on.
Well, let's see how it went.
The morning breaks cold and extremely windy at Redbird Airport outside Dallas, as both crews make final preparations for the race to Shreveport.
It's the back in the house. Yeah. Woo!
But it didn't stop at back-to-back. With the 49ers in Super Bowl 29, Norton won an unprecedented third straight Super Bowl ring. In 1974, his rookie year, Steelers linebacker Jack Lambert was the final piece in the Super Bowl.
Go through the checklist again. Blockbuster, blimp, Redbird, Terror. You ready for takeoff?
Gentlemen, start your engines. Ready, steady, go.
The bus gets a good jump out of the starting blocks and makes haste to the highway, while the blimp takes to the...
And the referees or the umpire, someone said to me, you're out of here, Lambert. And I said, wait a minute. I said, this is a Super Bowl. You can't throw me out of this game. He said, well, you get back in the huddle and you shut up. And I said, yes, sir.
Inspired by Lambert's actions, Pittsburgh shut down the Dallas attack. Although he made big plays in 4 Super Bowls, one hit stands out in Lambert's mind.
I had a pretty good one in a Super Bowl against Dallas on Preston Pearson.
Stuffed crazy bread carried out just $8.90.
It was shortly after the terrorist incident that I think really got some people fired up.
In Super Bowl 14, Lambert was again all over the field, and he helped put the final nail in the Rams' coffin.
Ferragamo back to pass, shoots it over the middle. Intercepted by the Steelers. Lambert at the 15, the 20. Lambert still on his feet, cutting to the middle of the field. He's down at the 30-yard line. First interception of the game off the arm of Ferragamo. And for Pittsburgh Steelers fans, it could not have come at a better time with 5:24 to go in the game.
Jack Lambert, a player for all time and a member of the all-time Super Bowl team. Men, is gray hair...
What do you think? Should I go for 2?
Yeah, right, like I'm gonna help you beat me.
What do you mean? I told you to go for it on 4th and 1.
On my own 35?
Yeah, right. Well, I know who we can ask.
Don't do it. You know what happened the last time.
Watch me.
Hey, I'm going to be in here. I may as well go talk to some of the guys.
I hear you have big feet. What size are those shoes?
Yeah, they're size 15, but anytime you got all this stuff on top, you better have a big base in the bottom.
Why did you make Emmitt Smith so much better than me?
Look, Ricky, just calm down, be nice, be quiet, and play the game.
Hey, what would you do if some of your players jumped into the stands at the Coliseum after scoring touchdowns?
What would worry me, in Oakland, I may have like 5 jump in and 2 come out.
Hall at 7:30.
Oakland, the All-Madden Team.
Bronco Nagurski.
Why do offensive linemen always win the sweat contest?
Because they got the biggest glands. And if you look at sweat, it all starts in glands. Now, you don't know where, but you got glands here, glands down there, glands whatever. And offensive linemen have more of those glands than any other position.
Tell me, why can't big guys keep their jersey tucked in?
You know, Brett, I have no idea. I mean, it would make sense if they would, because they got more stuff down there to hold their pants up. But they never can.
Hey, how is this for All-Madden song? Chickens Ricky Waters, head for the borders, get your camcorders, because I'm about to slaughter DBs.
That's the truth.
Do you live, eat, and drink football? Do you get crazy about it?
Now you say, how do I know they eat football? Well, I'll tell you what we did. We brought one of our guys in, Harris Barton, wired him up, gave him a bunch of pizza, put some data in there, and the computer say, yeah, that worked. While we were doing that, some kickers sneaked in. I don't know what the heck they were eating. They had like grapes or something like that. Put some data in there, boom, just blew up, nothing. I got to get back to the All-Madden team and get to our defensive line.
Reggie White, maybe the best of all time.
I think anytime you think of a defensive lineman and you think what you have to be, big and strong and fast, Reggie White epitomizes that. That's his hump move. I watch how he just starts and just throws guys to the ground and gets right on the quarterback. As you say, I think he could be the greatest pass rusher of all time.
And what about the Dallas duo of Charles Haley and Leon Lett?
You know, Charles Haley is a defensive end that can really raise havoc. He's a guy that if you take a 3-step drop, he's one of the few guys that can still get there. Now, he didn't play in the championship game, but he is going to start in the Super Bowl game, and if the Cowboys win, he'll be the first guy to have 5 Super Bowl rings.
And Lett next to him.
And I'll tell you, that's not bad. I mean, Leon Lett can cause havoc when you run and when you pass.
Dana Stubblefield of the 49ers.
Very strong. You know, if you're going to play a 4-man line, you have to have strength inside. And that's what Dana Stubblefield gives the 49ers. He's a good pusher as a pass rusher and very, very strong against the run.
And also good on the inside, the Chiefs' Dan Saliamua.
You know, every time we see the Chiefs play, it seems like Saliamua is always in the other team's backfield. Whether it's a pass like this, getting boom right to the quarterback, or it's a run, he's always getting penetration. He's always playing on their side of the line of scrimmage. Not a bad group.
John, you know you got to be special to play in the defensive line. You get hit on every play, and you picked a great group.
I'll tell you, led by this guy right here, Reggie White, one of the best that I've ever seen.
Next, let's meet the All-Madden linebacker.
About 6 linebackers in the NFL right here. Reckless abandon.
The Little Caesars 12th annual All-Madden team will continue after these messages from your local Fox station.
You really want to know?
The Dolphins finished as the NFL's only undefeated Super Bowl champions. And Jake Scott became the only defensive back to win the game's Most Valuable Player award. 21 years later, in Super Bowl 28, Dallas Cowboys safety James Washington, number 37, could have been named MVP for his hard-hitting and impact-producing play against the Buffalo Bills. One of Washington's big hits produced an even bigger fumble.
And the Cowboys have claimed a fumble.
Then, in the third quarter, Washington turned a tight game into a rout.
So I got AT&T through Reach Savings. It's the only way I save 25% on every type of call.
Number 37 completed the turnover hat trick with
AT&T True Reach Savings. That's your true choice, AT&T.
Okay, here's the rim.
James Washington joins Jake Scott, Ronnie Lott, and Mel Blount in the all-time Super Bowl secondary.
It seems like some portable...
Away from any land effort.
In 2 days or less.
John, there was a time when we picked linebackers. We started with LT, but that position has changed over the years.
Yeah, and that wasn't a bad start. He's the best that I've ever seen, but there's not as many linebackers to choose from anymore. You know, it used to be that most teams used a three-man line and you had four linebackers. Now they're using four-man line, and some of those guys that used to be linebackers are now defensive linemen, and then right away they go to the nickel or the dime, so some of the guys that used to be linebackers are now defensive backs. So there's not as many to choose from.
So now let's meet this year's linebackers.
Bryce Pop was a Packer, now he's a Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, what a year he had for the Buffalo Bills. In fact, he led the entire NFL in sacks with plays like this. They'd line him up on the right side and on the left side, tough against the run. But this year for the Bills, he was a great pass rusher.
And Ken Harvey led the Redskin defense.
Anytime you play the Washington Redskins, you have to find out where Ken Harvey is on defense, because he'll line up on the line of scrimmage, he'll line up off the line of scrimmage and a linebacker, but wherever he lines up or starts out, he always ends up where the ball is.
And wherever Sam Mills ends up, he can still play.
Yeah, what a great story he is. I mean, they always said he was too small. Sam Mills is only 5'9", but he's been playing middle linebacker in this league for a long time. Years with the New Orleans Saints, now with the Carolina Panthers. He had a big year. Only 3 of them, but I'll tell you what, they're active guys who'd really be fun to coach.
Right now, John, let's get back to the blimp versus bus race. And as we do, keep an eye on the bottom of your screen as we review the team picks so far.
20 miles outside Dallas, the Madden Cruiser is doing just that, cruising, while the blimp is struggling with 30-mile-an-hour winds and heads back in. Race expert Chris Economaki has this report.
Well, Pat, the blimp has come back to rebalance due to the extremely high winds. Make no mistake about it, this is one very dangerous racing machine.
Choice for return specialist on the all-time Super Bowl team is Fulton Walker, number 41 of the Miami Dolphins.
To the 5. A NASA-designed engine and special gasoline additives provide the power, while the latest helium derivatives keep the blimp aloft.
Left turn out, clear for takeoff. Remaining west of the runway, left turn is approved, outside the clear for takeoff.
The Blockbuster crew took it up for a test flight and set all sorts of records. Mags off, switches off. They even put racing Teflon on its nose. Pat, this reminds me of another story. The Italian superstar, Goggles Paisano, on his way to victory in the Rosenberg Cup race in the Bronx. His car was confronted with crosswinds on the Grand Concourse.
Boys, that last-second field goal. I wasn't the greatest kicker, and I never pretended to be. I never told anybody I was. Whenever we needed a kick, I made it. I never missed a kick that would have won a game.
In Super Bowl V, O'Brien's extra point tied the game at 13 late in the fourth quarter. But with time running out, an unthinkable mistake by the Dallas Cowboys offered O'Brien one final chance to fulfill every kicker's dream.
Gets the pass away down the sideline. Intercepted by Mike Curtis at the 25, the 20, down to the 23-yard line.
50 miles from Dallas, the blimp is just 4 minutes behind. Halfway to Shreveport, they're neck and neck.
I think I've been sandbagged. I think the whole Madden cruiser's been sandbagged. I think the whole All-Madden team has been sandbagged. I think every offensive lineman, everything that goes and stands for just staying on the ground, you know what I mean, solid sinkers, you know, plant yourself in the ground, I think it's been sandbagged.
I think I have to agree with what Coach said. You know, they kind of pulled the wool over our eyes. They said their average speed was like 37 or 40 mile an hour. I think something's wrong with their gauges.
You go miles per hour on the ground. We've stayed miles per hour. He's going knots, so we're trying to be like we're knots now.
All tied up at 13-13. Morrill is kneeling. O'Brien is ready. There is the snap. The kick is up. It is long enough. It hits.
At Ford, you'll find innovation, attention.
I knew that it was going to be good. It had probably gone 55 yards. It was my best kick of my life. And I was, you know, very fortunate to be able to be in that spot and to be successful.
And the Baltimore Colts have just won themselves a Super Bowl.
Still the only place kicker to win a Super Bowl, Jim O'Brien's clutch performance earned him a spot on the all-time Super Bowl team.
There is a magic.
Fraudulent, so they can't afford a
Crazy Bread carried out just $8.99 or have it delivered. Delivery.
Hey, you get a tough case of athlete's foot. The itching, the cracking, the burning. You want a medicine that acts tough. Boom! Tough Actin Tenactin. Clinically proven Tenactin cures even tough cases of athlete's foot fungus. Get Tough Actin Tenactin.
The All-Madden Hall of Fame was established 3 years ago in Texas when Anthony Munoz and Mike Singletary were inducted. Since then, Joe Jacoby and Lawrence Taylor have been enshrined in ceremonies held in the heartland. But this year, we're taking Matt Millen's handcrafted sign and moving it to the banks of the East River on the Brooklyn side.
You know how you always think of places you'd like to be from? I've always dreamt that I would like to be from Brooklyn. If I had an address, I'd like to say, hey, Madden, where are you from? Brooklyn, New York. So I thought, what the heck? If I'm going to haul my fame, I'm going to haul it to Brooklyn. Now, there's something solid about this. You know what I mean? There's cobblestone on the streets here. That's solid. Look at these pillars under this bridge. I mean, big, strong, rock-solid pillars. That's what the All-Madden team's all about. I mean, if you can have people that are like this, now we're talking. So how about our Hall of Fame? We're starting off with Jackie Slater. 20 years in the NFL as an offensive lineman. Longer than any offensive lineman in the history of the league. Ronnie Lott, defensive back. I always said, of all the players that I ever met, Ronnie Lott knew more about football than any other player. I think he'd make a great coach. And then, of course, the quarterback, Joe Montana. Pat Summerall and I have been doing games for 15 years. In those 15 years, Joe Montana was the best offensive player that we'd ever seen. So that's it. Under the Brooklyn Bridge, on a pillar, 3 all-time greats. Jackie Slater, Ronnie Lott, and Joe Montana. I'll tell you, it doesn't get any better than this. Now let's take a look at the All-Madden defensive backs.
Every All-Madden secondary needs a hitter. And we could start with Darren Woodson.
Yeah, Darren Woodson was a linebacker in college, and he still hits like a linebacker, covers like a corner. Here he is with an interception, and, I mean, he's big, he's strong, and he's fast.
And Merton Hanks can cover a lot of ground as well.
Over the 49ers, anytime you watch them on defense, it seems like Merton Hanks is always making a play, whether that play be a tackle, an interception, or picking up a fumble and running it into the end zone. Then when he gets in the end zone, he has this little thing going.
And John, we've been talking about Darrell Green of the Redskins for a long time.
13 years, as a matter of fact, and every game he plays, he has a lot of fun. He's a great competitor, always takes the toughest receiver, and comes up with the ball a heck of a lot.
And 3 newcomers to the All-Madden team: Tyrone Poole, Philippe Sparks, and Craig Newsom.
Well, I think you need some new guys out there. So we found Tyrone Poole playing for the Carolina Panthers, making big plays against the 49ers. Philippe Sparks of the Giants has turned into one of the real good cover corners in football. And the same with Craig Newsom of the Green Bay Packers. Here's a rookie who didn't stay a rookie for a long time. Because when you're out there on real speed and you don't have any help, you can't be a rookie.
John, maybe it's me, but it seems to me like there's somebody very important we left off.
I know who you're talking about. We didn't leave him off, Pat. We just couldn't fit him on one television set. So I had to go out and I had to get 6, 7, 8, 9 television sets just to get all the things that this guy can do. He plays offense, he plays defense, he plays special teams. I needed all this stuff before I could do it.
When we come back, we'll select the wide receivers on the Little Caesars 12th annual All-Madden team.
Time with the big blocks.
With the game on the line in the 4th quarter, all the Redskins needed was 1 yard on 4th down. Running behind big number 66, they got that yard and a world championship.
Goal line, eye left, tight wing, 70, chip on white. Ready? Yellow 41! Yellow 41! Punch him!
There's the snap, hand to Riggins. Good hole. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone. He's gone. Touchdown, Washington Redskins.
Riggins earned his place in history. And with number 66 at tackle, the Redskins also won Super Bowls 22 and 26. While Jacoby and Little hold down one side of the all-time Super Bowl offensive line, the other side is manned by Raiders teammates. Guard Gene Upshaw, number 63. It's easy to see Vikings defense in Super Bowl 11.
So game day, I turned to Gene and I said, the Vikings don't know what they're in for today. We were going to knock them off.
Ford, you'll find innovation, attention to detail, and exceptional value. Qualities that have made Ford F-Series America's best-selling truck for 19 straight years. And for the 4th straight year...
Position, and Clarence jumped out of there on 17-5.
Kind of success. The next thing you see when you look into a Ford might just be yourself.
Never has been anybody like Jerry Rice.
I think Jerry Rice is the best wide receiver that ever played this game. And, you know, you think of the National Football League now, and it's really a passing league. I mean, everyone's just throwing the ball all over the lot. In fact, in this year's group, Pat, if they didn't catch 100 footballs, they didn't make the team.
Michael Irvin of the Cowboys. What a year he had.
Well, you know, he's so big and so strong and so physical that there's no one guy in this league that can cover him. And sometimes there's no 2 guys in this league that can cover him. His nickname is Playmaker.
And Chris Carter could have that same name. We had to pick him.
Well, we did because we missed him last year, and every time we'd see him, Chris Carter would say, hey, how can I not be on the All-Madden team? I said, okay, we didn't get you last year. We missed that. We can't miss you 2 times in a row.
The Detroit Lions, Herman Moore and Brett Perryman.
What a pair that was. You know, anytime Herman Moore is out there, all you have to do is throw the ball up because he could jump so well that he is always going to win the jump ball contest. And then if you want that speed and the quickness, you go to Brett Perriman. You watch him here and the moves that he makes, and he is a real competitor and a real tough guy. And the thing that I like about these guys is they not only run all over the field and catch, but watch how they block for each other. Brett Perriman picks off a guy, boom, so Herman Moore can score.
From the St. Louis Rams, Isaac Bruce.
Yeah, he had a great year. In his second year with the Rams and his second year in pro football, and he looked like one of the real good receivers in football. Didn't make the Pro Bowl. So when you see a guy like Isaac Bruce do what he did this year, and they won't take him in the Pro Bowl, we'll always take guys like that.
Robert Brooks of the Packers really asserted himself.
Yeah, and he had to assert himself because remember when Sterling Sharp retired, everyone thought, uh-oh, the Packers don't have a go-to guy. They not only had a go-to guy, they had a go-to jumper.
Hey, Pat and John. I've been watching the Green Bay Packers all year, especially Robert Brooks. The extension and elevation he gets when he jumps into the stands, I'm thinking to myself, maybe I can copy some of his technique so I can jump 30 feet in the Olympics. And I think I found the secret.
Stay tuned for the All-Madden quarterbacks. And later on, the conclusion of the blimp versus bus race.
Whatever we do, that blimp's right.
They can never take it away from you. Super Bowl 10. From you.
We had a halftime pep talk from the coach, and I mean there was some hard stuff laid out, you know, like the replacement stuff. And hey, you know, we don't like that, you know.
That's all after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.
An advanced alien race is coming.
Unidentified aircraft. Woo! Man, is he moving!
To consume mass quantities. Dan Aykroyd, Jason Alexander, Sinbad, and Chris Farley star.
Cheese.
History. Swan capped off his performance with a touchdown and the game's MVP award.
People will make other spectacular catches. They'll be game-winning catches. But Super Bowl 10, that Sunday, that was my day.
There were others, including Super Bowl 13, where Swan dashed Dallas's hopes with a late touchdown.
Now he fires for the ball, and Lynn Swan going for it. Swan pulls it in for a touchdown. Lynn Swan.
Frankly, it hurts. Give me my Advil. Nothing has shown me that works better on aching muscles, or proven that it lasts longer. Advil's the one.
For sore muscles, more doctors recommend Advil than any other pain reliever.
Nasty game.
Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Michael Jordan has always brought to Chicago a sense of unparalleled excitement. Much like...
Same can be said of 49ers wide receiver Jerry Rice, who has always shined his brightest in the glow of pro football's biggest spotlight.
As the #1 sports star in town, the Blazers is the #1 selling sports utility in town. Besides, the Blazers are a lot easier to get a hold of. Right, Mike?
Empire Carpet's expanding the warehouse. We have to move all our carpet out, so we're having a huge sale on everything. Carpet, padding, labor's the works. That's right. Half off on our best carpet, plus savings on padding and labor. Even a free basketball. All with 0 interest and 0 monthly payments for 6 whole months.
In receiving, that was a 27-yard gainer on second down.
800-588-2305.
I'll be ready by opening day.
You know, if there were a shrine to pro football, it would be Lambeau Field. Great stadium, grass field. You drive down Lombardi Avenue to get there. Vince Lombardi, You think of all the tradition of the great Packer team. You go in the parking lot and you see the fans celebrating. They're cooking big old brats and eating, wearing cheese heads. Then they go into the stadium and they celebrate with their players. In fact, the players jump into the stands. Their coach leads their team on a motorcycle. It's kind of what football is really all about. It's the roots. It's a tradition. And if we were going to play a game, that's where I would want this All-Madden team to play. When you talk about the Green Bay Packers, Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin, we're going to start with the quarterbacks now. And the guy that is going to be our first quarterback is a guy who played pretty well there this year.
Let's start our quarterbacks with the pride of Kill, Mississippi, Brett Favre of the Packers.
You know, Pat, I think every year we ought to have on the All-Madden team at least one player from Kill, Mississippi. But what a year Brett Favre had. He was the MVP of the National Football League. His whole Packer offense was really on his shoulders, and did he carry it? And the thing that I like about him, he's a quarterback who plays quarterback with the emotion of a linebacker.
And the leader of the Cowboys, Troy Aikman.
And he led them all the way to the Super Bowl. You know, Troy Aikman is one of those guys that is almost perfect. One of the Green Bay Packers said before the game that Troy Aikman is a truth. And when you watch him play, every play he plays is a truth.
And you can't pick any team without having Steve Young.
Now, I want to show you a play here, Pat. Now, this isn't the Super Bowl. This isn't a playoff game. As a matter of fact, this isn't even a regular season game. It's a preseason game. He gets his hat knocked off, and he keeps going. I'll tell you, that's tough. And then after that, you'd think, well, what the heck? No hat, you go out of bounds. No, not Steve Young. He slides. And he also coaches. He coaches the players. He signals people, hey, come over here. Anyone that'll listen. He coaches the coaches. In fact, he even coaches himself into complete exhaustion.
You think Steve Young can get by with one of these?
I think Steve Young could have worn one of those or played in the day that they did wear those, if they ever did. And I remember the days, well, I don't remember it, but they tell me that in the days that they wore this helmet, that you would, like, put your lunch in here, and you'd take your lunch to school like this, then you'd eat your lunch, and then you'd wear it at practice, and then you'd stick it, you'd fold it up like this and stick it in your back pocket and take it home.
I've been home like that many times.
Coming later, the blimp race heats up.
You do what you have to at the end, I mean, to win.
Next, we'll have the special team, where someone or something is trying to kick me out of a job.
You'd never seen anything? In the 30-year history of the Super Bowl, no one has ever run harder than Larry Zonka.
Larry Zonka gave us that tremendous physical, the feeling of being more powerful than the people that we were playing against. All you had to do is look at Zonka and you got that feeling because this was a powerful man.
In Super Bowl VII, Zonka tallied 112 yards in a win against the Redskins.
I liked that style. I won't hide that. I preferred to run inside, and it was kind of fun to meet head-on. When I won, it was very rewarding. When all else fails, and it's obvious it's going to come down to a direct physical confrontation, I always thought it reflected a higher degree of intelligence to do the inflicting.
Think he'll make the All-Madden team?
Nah. Only kicker John ever picks is Pat Summerall.
Well, John, I'm getting a little concerned. Is my job in jeopardy?
Well, you know, you look, he does have a lot of legs.
Yeah, he does. Got a lot of them.
Yeah, 4 of them, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. What I like, he only uses 1 at a time. The other thing, he's not one of those sidewinding Clydesdales either. In fact, he kind of reminds me of someone.
Who does he remind you of?
We'll put this in the clicker and check it out, Pat. You in the left, the Clydesdale on the right. You're a straight-ahead kicker, the Clydesdale's a straight-ahead kicker. What's your range?
Oh, about 50 on real dirt.
Okay, well then, you know what I could do? I could use both of you. Anything inside 50, I'd have you kick it. Anything longer than 50, I'd have...
Counted the most.
He'd be walking back and forth, and he'd get this real determined pace. And pace would turn into a stride, and he'd go back and forth. And he'd walk by you, his eyes would just open up. And you just look at you and you go, we're gonna do it today, right? Let's go get him, Swanee. Come on, play great, play great. Then he'd keep going, that's all. And he'd get in that ball game, and he'd do it.
In the big game, there was no one better than Franco. No one. I mean, he lived.
The driver of the bus had a stroke, fell out of the seat. Larry Champagne jumped in the seat, put on the brakes, and saved the whole busload of children. And I don't know how you can have a more valuable player than Larry Champagne. Larry, we're really proud to have you as the MVP of the All-Madden team. Here you are.
Thank you.
John, what do you get for making the All-Madden team?
Well, you know, in the years past, we'd always have it here, and we'd hold it up and say, they get this, and they get this, and they get this. And now I figured this year, heck, we've had enough experience, the players have had enough experience with the All-Madden team. Let them tell you.
Guys, as a 9-time member of this team, let me tell you something. You get some great stuff here, man. First of all, you get these cool sweatshirts.
Oh, man, yeah.
Making the team. Man, yeah.
You know, in a couple of weeks, out of the middle of nowhere, you'll get these black leather jackets out up here at your house.
Delivery for 5. You guys picked the best year to get this, because this year you get free pizza.
Oh, yeah. All right. Hey, you never get this at the Pro Bowl. Thanks, John.
Hey, well, don't thank me. You guys did it by having a great year. But this isn't a bad deal now. You know, I mean, we're clothing them and feeding them.
So that's the whole team, right?
Well, not really. Remember Thanksgiving, we were in Detroit? And I ran into Mike Utley, and I said, how you doing, Mike? He said, I'm doing great. I'm strong. I'm lifting weights. He said, I'm jumping out of airplanes. I'm skydiving. I'm skiing. I'm doing all this stuff. And I said, hey, that's pretty doggone good. If you're doing all that, we're going to put you on the team.
Mr. Madden, thanks for putting me on your team. Now, next, come out and join mine.
We'll be back after this.
And up the stairs. Down. Truth is, regardless of who we are, what we are, or what phone company we choose, every one of us can use 1-800-COLLECT to save.
Little Caesars introduces delivery.
Anyone can use it, everyone can save. No other city in the world has more beautiful than thunderstorms.
Have it delivered. Delivery charges may apply.
Delivery. Hey, you get a tough case of athlete's foot, the itching, the cracking, the burning. You want a medicine that acts tough. Boom! Tough-actin Tinactin. Clinically proven Tinactin cures even tough cases of athlete's foot fungus. Get tough-actin Tinactin.
When you get together for a blockbuster night, there's never a line to get in, there's no cover charge, there's no reservation required, and the kitchen never closes. With over 9,000 blockbuster videos to choose from, we'd like to suggest that when it comes to a great night with friends, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. Make it a blockbuster night.
Ace is the place in Benicia, California. Ace is the place in Pineville, Louisiana. Wherever you go, Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks.
Well, John, the last time we saw you on this thing, you were neck and neck with that blimp.
Yeah, it was a heck of a race.
Well, let's take a look at the finish.
The Blockbuster ground crew is pulling out all stops and trying to box the Madden cruiser in as their blimp is faltering near the state border.
They can't do this. We got close to one lane, and then we got a house in front of us. Oversized load. That looks like Nate Newton and Derek Kennard in front of us. That's the story of...
At the tender age of 25, Montana ran and passed the 49ers to victory and won his first MVP award. 3 years later, he outdueled Dan Marino for MVP award number 2 as the 49ers destroyed the Miami Dolphins.
Blockade, it's clear sailing into Louisiana for the bus. Ace pilots Dave Hahn and Willie Yarbrough man the helm as the finish line approaches just ahead.
I think we finished about 12 and a half minutes behind John Madden. We were breaking all kind of blimp records today. We were doing 65 miles an hour across the ground. That's unheard of with a blimp.
Yelling and screaming, come on, let's go. This is the biggest drive of my life. If we want the ring, we got to go out and get it. And he looked at me, and it was during one of those long TV timeouts they have in the Super Bowl, and he looked at me and goes, hey, H. You know, that's what he calls me, Harris, H. Hey, H, check it out. I go, what? And he goes, hey, look over there in that end zone. And I look there, and he goes, hey, there's John Candy. And I go, John Candy? And sure enough, John Candy's sitting there eating some popcorn. And I look at him, I look at the clock, and, you know, there's 3 minutes to go in the game, the biggest game of the year. And he's so relaxed that, and then all of a sudden the TV timeout ended, and next thing I know, we're marching down the field for the winning drive.
Montana back to throw on first down. Throws over the middle, completes it to Craig. Craig is at the 60.
Get some movement in there. Get some movement. If you're worried about the scramble and run thing, that's good. But don't just shoot downfield. Peck us apart and get the field goal.
I felt we had a lot of time on the clock.
This Bud's for you.
And try to make something positive out of every play.
Back to throw, a little dunk over the middle, caught by John.
And that was my basic approach in throwing the ball, was that if I had somebody open right away and it wasn't my first receiver, I'm going to give it to him and let him gain 5, let him gain 10, and try to maintain that pressure on the defense.
Oh, gets the halfback. Somebody gets the halfback.
All the way to the other side of the field.
Joe back to throw, steps up, throws, out here for right. He has it at midfield, goes out of bounds at about...
Though trailed, it now seemed as though Montana had the Bengals right where he wanted them.
We got 3 timeouts. This is deja vu.
Montana trying to drive him the length of the field here with the game in the balance. Throws over the middle, a 5-catch by right into the 20. He's down to the 19 for a first down for the 49ers. 40 seconds remaining. The 49ers will have to take a timeout here, and they do.
It's such a sight to watch this. It is, whether it happens now or not, to watch Joe Montana do this so many years, and to watch...
Can you speak without moving your hands? And I said, no. And then you don't have to say, what's that all about? Just so things happen that way. You just...
At the 10-yard line, 39 seconds remaining. Montana, at quarterback, in motion, comes right. Back to throw, Montana. Steps up, throws. Touchdown!
Driving a team in the last minute, throwing a touchdown pass to win the Super Bowl is the ultimate. There's no better way to end your season than to do it that way.
In Super Bowl 24, Montana topped himself with a history-making performance that included a Super Bowl record 5 touchdown passes.
It was this unique, fully dimensional mind that Joe has to be able to do those things when other people would be struck by the drama and the pressure of a World Championship game. So Joe was truly brilliant, became maybe the greatest football player of his time during that game.
Four Super Bowl victories, 11 touchdown passes without an interception, a record 3 most valuable player awards. Joe Montana, the quarterback of the all-time Super Bowl team. A collection of men who have coached or played their best when everything was at stake in pro football's ultimate game.
the seed was planted in 1969 when head coach Chuck Noll drafted defensive tackle Joe Green in the first round. The roots took form in 1970 with the addition of first-rounder Terry Bradshaw. And over the next 4 years, the nutrients were added. Jack Ham, Franco Harris, Lynn Swan, Jack Lambert, and John Stallworth. There was no doubt about it. The Pittsburgh Steeler family tree had taken root, and for the rest of the 70s, it grew like a redwood, towering over the rest of the NFL. The success of that Steeler dynasty has been well chronicled, but perhaps the most impressive aspect of this team was just how it was built, through an incredible series of drafts. For the most part, Pittsburgh avoided trading for players or picking up, other teams' cast-offs. Chuck Noll preferred athletes who knew only one way to play, the Steeler way. And in the 1979 season, in his 11th year as head coach, Chuck Noll won his 4th Super Bowl, defeating the Los Angeles Rams in Super Bowl 14. And what made this win so special was that the 1979 Steelers became the only Super Bowl champion comprised totally of players who had never been with another club. 45 men bred for success. And it all began in 1969 with the drafting of Joe Green, who in his 11th season approached his 4th Super Bowl with the same intensity as he did his first. And I remember what Green said about his team's 4th Super Bowl title. This was an invitation engraved in gold, he said, an invitation to immortality.
All right, girls, remember to pick up your pom-poms at the 30-yard line and fluff them before the introduction.
Super Bowl programs, Super Bowl souvenirs, Super Bowl pennants, Super Bowl programs, your Super Bowl programs. Super Bowl 14 pennants for your pennant